Bernie Sanders has been the bright, shining light demonstrating to all of the Democratic Party not only how we have to message right now, but how we have to physically meet this moment. And he has been doing so by traveling to red districts and red states to communicate how Donald Trump has not only failed to keep his promises, but is actively betraying them and his own voters in doing so. And Bernie Sanders on this tour, the anti-oligarchy tour, visited Warren, Michigan, a city that voted for Donald Trump, has a Republican representative who is refusing to show up to town halls. And so Bernie Sanders is doing it for them and changing the minds of MAGA in doing so. In a clip that we're going to get into, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, there were certainly Republicans and Democrats and independents in this crowd, but it was the moment of call and response from Bernie talking about these people's lives that were so impactful, and we got to check it out right here.
So let's do something radical. You ready to do something radical? Let's do what President Trump did not do. Let us take a real look at what is going on in America today, okay? All right. We are the richest country. We are the richest country in the history of the world. But you know what? 60%, 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. Now, unlike Trump, I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck, and I know a little bit about that, as I expect many of you do. So what does living paycheck to paycheck mean? Tell me. Raise your hands. It'd be loud. Yes, right here. It means surviving. How you survive. Yes. It means little money. What does it mean? Yes. Stress. Hold it one at a time. Yeah. Survival. Exhaustion. Well, like fear. Fear of what? A fear of everything. What? Medical care. Yes, ma'am. No money for emergencies. Yes. Making difficult choices. Ma'am. Okay. All right, right there, yeah. No future. All right. Here is the reality. And I think you've all said it in a few minutes. Millions of Americans today are wondering how they're going to be able to pay their rent and what happens if the landlord raises their rent. What do? Rents are going up all over the country. What do you do if the landlord raises your rent? You got to move? Where are you going to move to? You got to take your kid out of school. Where's it going to go? She's going to go. People are worried that your child or your parent becomes sick. You can't afford to take that person to a doctor, or you cannot afford the prescription drugs that your mom or your kid may need. What's going on today in America is people are worried. Just something as simple, as basic. Your car breaks down. You got an old car, right? Your car breaks down. And the guy at the repair shop says it's going to cost you $1,000 to get it fixed. Now, what happens if you don't have the $1,000? You can't get your car fixed. If you can't get your car fixed, you can't get to work. If you can't get to work, you're going to lose your job. If you lose your job, how are you going to survive? That's because millions of people don't have $1,000 in the bank. In America today, and this is a remarkable fact, it is not just that our life expectancy, you all know what life expectancy, how long we live. It's about 4 years shorter than people in other wealthy countries. And we should wonder why that is so. But here's something that is never talked about. Now, I want to throw that out to you. I want you to digest it. If you are working class in this country, your life expectancy, on average, will be 7 years shorter than if you are wealthy. Do you all understand what that is about? That means that being working class in this country in many respects is like a death sentence. You're rich, you're going to live a long life. You're working class, 7 years shorter. Why is that? Stress. All right. What stress is about stress is not some concept, oh, we're stressed out. Stress is a physiological reaction. And there is, doctors frame it as it's the disease of poor people who have to struggle every single day. Stress wrecks your body, and it has a terrible impact on your mind. If you have to worry every single day, how are you going to survive? How do I feed the kids? How do I pay the rent? What happens if I get a call that I have to be at work at midnight for the midnight shift? You add all that together, people are living on pins and needles day after day, year after year. Stress kills. And in the richest country in the history of the world, millions of people should not have shorter lives than they otherwise should because of the economy that we have.
Our politics is national. Yes, that is absolutely the case. But it is also true that the most impactful stories are those that are most local to the communities clearly affected by the decisions of this Trump administration. The disastrous policies of DOGE, the $5 trillion tax cut that Donald Trump wants to write and pay for with $800 billion in cuts to Medicaid, want to eliminate programs to feed young kids, to keep people healthy and housed. Yeah, that's going to overwhelmingly affect red areas. Donald Trump's voters who were promised lower prices and a better economy, they're getting the opposite. They actually got that under Joe Biden, but it's a different story. And Bernie Sanders is delivering the message. You are hurt. Your pain is real. It is felt. And we're going to work to fix it. Because it's not just enough to critique Donald Trump. We need to offer up an alternative that feels real to people. And there's no one better at doing that than Bernie. And he isn't just doing it, of course, on the ground. He is everywhere, all the time and always. And he was on Anderson Cooper last night. And I want to take a look at what he had to say.
Well, he has called Social Security a Ponzi scheme. They have already laid off 2,500 employees of the Social Security Administration. Anderson, I think I speak for probably every member of the Senate in that the calls that we get in large numbers are people who are saying, I'm trying to get a hold of Social Security. I got a disability issue. I can't get a hold of anybody. And the reason is the Social Security Administration today is understaffed. There are estimates out there that tens of thousands of people with disabilities die while they're waiting for those benefits to come to fruition. They apply, they're waiting. And now if you do, as Musk and others are proposing, not only 2,500 Social Security employees, they want to cut half of the Social Security employees. That will be a disaster. That will mean that millions of people who will, calling up, they're not going to get an answer. So if you ask me, I think this is a prelude not only to cutting benefits, but to privatizing Social Security itself. I think that's in the back of their mind. If you make the system dysfunctional, why would anybody want to support it? And that's consistent with what Trump said in his State of the Union address. Oh, there are millions of people, thousands of people, 200 years old and 150 years old. What is all of that about? It happens to be a lie. It's not true. 99% of the benefits go to people, more than that go to people who have paid into them. So why do you lie so much about Social Security? Why do you make it look like it's a broken, dysfunctional system? The reason is to get people to lose faith in the system, and then you can give it over to Wall Street. That's my view.
Is there any way to get more transparency about what Elon Musk is doing? I mean, the only thing like the public sees besides his posts on X are this so-called wall of receipts. And, CNN, the New York Times, David Fahrenthold of the Times has looked at the numbers that are being posted for the alleged savings that they're making. And a lot of them are phony. I mean, $8 billion contract for ICE canceled turned out to be an $8 million contract.
Well, I mean, two things. I am the ranking member, leader of the opposition on the HELP Committee, Health, Education, Labor. And I have requested of Senator Cassidy, the chairman of it, to bring Musk before the committee. I think the American people would like to hear him answer questions from members of the United States Senate. I will tell you, Anderson, just this last weekend, I was in Wisconsin and Michigan. We had, whole lots of people, far more people showing up than I had anticipated. We had 9,000 people in Warren, Michigan. And people are angry. They're confused. They see the richest guy in the world going around saying, hey, we're going to decimate the Veterans Administration. We're going to decimate Social Security. We're going to be laying off people here and there and everywhere. And people are saying, what is going on? So the idea that we have oligarchs, people with incredible wealth, trashing programs that working people desperately need is, I think, unacceptable to the vast majority of the American people. Now, they're going after Social Security. They're going after Veterans Administration. And obviously, in their so-called reconciliation bill, they want to give huge tax breaks, over $1 trillion in tax breaks to the top 1%. And they pay for that by cutting Medicaid by some $800 billion and cutting nutrition programs for children by a couple of $100 billion. So I think the American people are saying, you know what, we're struggling enough right now. 60% living paycheck to paycheck. Don't give tax breaks to billionaires. Cut programs to working people. Don't go after Social Security. Don't go after the Veterans Administration and the men and women who put their lives on the line to defend us.
Do you see America moving to a kleptocracy where, people have loyalty oaths if you want to get a job in the civil service, where, pay money, you get access?
Well, look, you got, during Trump's inaugural, as you know, the three richest guys in the country, Musk, Bezos, and Zuckerberg were there, and right behind them were 13 other billionaires who Trump had nominated to head major government agencies.
If you thought Elon Musk and Donald Trump were stopping at Medicaid, unfortunately, you are mistaken. They are going on to your Social Security next. And I am sure people are going to be pretty pissed at that. So let's take that energy. Let's use this moment. Let's recognize our agency. Republicans are in a way running scared from their own voters, sure, and Congress, not as much, but they are on the back foot. If they're intimidated by their voters, let's make them more intimidated by their voters. Let's use our voices. We still have the ability to. And we're going to every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.